Welcome to the DSQ podcast with Blake Lawson and Dakota Reynolds.
Well, that was something.
That was certainly something. Of all the races this year, that was one of them.
It happened. It was the 13th to be. It was the 13th race.
Oh. That explains a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it. There's a little bit before that. But, yeah, I mean, look at the title. This is the first time we've had the title for the podcast well before we recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this was a kind of apart from that Snorefest.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a boring weekend build-up. It was mostly a boring qualifying. There was a little excitement there, but not a whole lot. And then, like, a good half or more of the race was boring.
And it really wasn't even the racing that made it exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want to start with what everybody brought? Because it was a kind of a big upgrade-ish.
I mean, it was a big upgrade, yeah. I was like, we'll get the boring stuff out of the way first. New parts, restricted number components is Lance Stroll took new case and cassette and driver lining components for his gearbox. That's it. For new power unit stuff, Pierre Gasly took a new energy store and a third control electronics out of two allotted, both while he should have been in Parc Fermé, so started from the pit lane for this race. Again, once more. Gee, I wonder if that'll be the only coincidence for him this race weekend.
I was like, the debate last couple weeks of the penalties, I guess, really didn't matter. Just start the pit lane again.
Anyways, upgrades. From what I could tell on everything, the big... I was going to use the word big winners for upgrades, but the people with the most upgrades were Aston Martin. They had a major upgrade package that didn't really seem to go that great, but it also didn't go terribly, but it also wasn't great. So, yeah. But they changed a lot of stuff. Bunch of major upgrade changes, stuff like that. Rest of the teams going down the list, Red Bull had many minor and circuit-specific upgrades for performance and cooling. Toro Rosso had one minor aero and cooling upgrades each. Sauber had several minor and major upgrades for local load and flow conditioning, which I actually decided to look up. Local load is basically just means that the performance is being generated by that part, i.e. it's not guiding air for a component downstream. So, like, the brake ducts, that's generally, like, the performance is being generated from that, and it's not necessarily pushing the air back to something else. All that means. And then flow conditioning is just the opposite. So, fun facts. Haas, circuit-specific cooling. Mercedes, minor local load. Ferrari, minor flow conditioning, specifically floor underbody rework. Alpine had circuit-specific cooling changes. Williams had the same. McLaren had nothing, because they're apparently perfect. That's it. That's the boring stuff out of the way. That's a whole page of notes worth of upgrades and part changes done in, like, 5 minutes or less.
Mm-hmm. A page and a half with 3 pages of notes. That's how boring this show was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, literally, I managed to somehow wake up for FP1. And it was okay. What are my notes? Only thing of note, to me, besides we seeing Ollie, and again,
Ollie!
So some more running of the Bearman. He was up for Hulk this time. Hulk sat that one out. Zhou Guan Yu had melting ducts on his engine cowl, which they did swap out that engine cowl. So,
I mean, yeah, I would too.
FP2, Charles Payne minor injury, or not minor injury, for as big of a crash it could have been, really minimal.
Yeah.
Did have to minimal. He did register a G sensor, so did have to do the medical, but
I had to go to medical. I distinctly remember you mentioning, like, or you commenting, it was like, I'm surprised that car did not split in half. I was
Yep.
like, I didn't think that it necessarily would have, but, I mean, given the angles, it's possible. And they are not necessarily designed to break away, but also are kind of designed to break away in the event that certain areas are hit. And so you don't want the fuel catching on fire next to the driver.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Joe had a little spin, blaming it on Checo. Crofty blamed it on Checo. It was not Checo's fault, and Brundle actually was like, no, and so Checo will be fine this week. Nothing bad will happen then. That was the only thing that happened
One
to
bad
Checo.
thing.
Again, I didn't get up for P3, so I don't have any notes. I think somebody spun. I think it was Lewis. Lewis spun. That was it. It was, yeah, this honestly, like, was one of the most boring weekends.
I think you can hear it in our voice. I was
Yeah.
like, we're very low energy right now, but yeah, no, it was
We've also got that, I don't know, every Sunday, and it's not like I don't want to go to work thing. It's I just start feeling sick on, like, Sunday afternoon. I don't know. But, yeah. It's just, like, it wasn't a fun race. Like, I didn't want to necessarily, not that I don't want to do an episode, it's just, like, there's nothing to add to the conversation on this episode of, like, it was a race that happened. We'll the same takes everybody has on the drama thing. That's the only thing that matters this week, apparently.
yeah. I was like, that's what you're here for. You're here for the drama. I was like, there's definitely a few things here and there throughout the race, and I guess before that, I guess we could get to qualifying, qualifying. But yeah, I mean, just various things here and there throughout the race, and then the incidences.
Yeah. I mean, Q1, Checo, you done it again.
Good job, mate.
So, man, we're trying to defend you here, but you can't bin it.
You got to get it together, man. And I say that, and I'll get to that later on. But
Especially when you say that, because the next note is the person who I disagree that shouldn't be up for the seat, but I guess who is the next for the seat. Daniel Ricciardo does a P1 in the Toro Rosso for Q1. That's like really bad for Checo. But then again, George was also out. That was more of a strategy than anything. Both Williams and Haas. Both Williams and both Haas's made it through. And then Max did a 0.000 again to a Mercedes, this time Lewis. It wasn't for pole, and it was a Q1, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah, it happened. Statistics.
What are the odds? If I had a nickel for every time that Max 0.000 to Mercedes and quali, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's straight. I had it twice anyway.
Thank you, Doofenshmirtz.
Q2 or anything.
Did Yuki happen Q1 or Q2 or Q3? Q2?
That was Q3.
Q3.
Yes.
Cool.
I mean, QC wasn't too much. Williams almost had it in.
Well,
Daniel did not do his well on his Q2 as he did a Q1. Close for Lewis. Almost out of it. And I just have a note that says Aston Martin fraud. So
I mean, that could literally just be a weekly note.
yeah.
Fucking Lawrence Stroll and his Nepo child.
Which they do better in the race, so I guess we'll get to that. And then Q3, yeah, the big thing is Yuki being like, "Hey, I can be in that second Red Bull," and shunting his car. Which they did actually on that thing. He kind of hit the grass, kind of lost it, got a decent amount of air, not a whole lot of time. Took out a 50-meter marker, or the 150-meter marker, and gave F1 some more advertising on their own racing show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did change that corner, though. They gave an extra 4 meters of gravel to not have that happen. So it was legitimately a problem, apparently. Enough for the race directors to, like, hey, go to Hungarian Home Depot and get, like, 4 bags of gravel.
4 bags of gravel and, like,
A
fucking
little shovel.
20 bottles of glue.
Yeah. All right, that was it. And the race was uneventful. That was it. Everybody, we'll see you next week for Spa.
Dun, dun.
I mean, the racing, again, as we said, was
I mean,
there was some good stuff.
We thought we were in for a great race after lap 1, turn 1. Hey, fucking 3-way battle into turn 1. Max goes off, which you can't do that.
But it's turn 1.
But it's turn 1. But
So.
he gave the place back anyway, so no further action.
Well, he's turn 1 and not British, so yeah, he had to get the swap back.
Yeah.
Still mad about Coda last year, Lewis.
So that battle between him and Lando gives Piastri the lead in turn 1. Piastri's in the lead. Let's go. I'm happy.
Yeah. And then I don't remember anything until later in the laps.
Well, of note, the whole pit strategy this week confused me. Like, everybody started, not everybody, but most people started on, like, the softs and the mediums, and then pit on, like, lap 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like, immediately pit, swap over to hards, and just run the rest of the race on hards. Which, I mean, I guess I get, but that just seems a weird way to go about doing it, instead of just, well, I say instead of just starting on the hards and then running it, but at the same time, I guess, we'll get as much track position as you can at the start of the race, instead of having to fight people with them having deteriorating tires and all that good junk. Pit strategy is weird in general. I don't quite get it yet. I'm still trying to comprehend it.
Especially this week, there's a lot talking about, too, when we get to the McLaren Hall. We're bearing the lead. We want you to listen to at least 10 minutes of this on real YouTube. You know, it's not monetized, so it actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, and that was, talking about McLaren, or not talking about McLaren, the other one, Aston Martin. Not only do they start on soft, they start on used softs. Like, that's not going to get you much. You're not, where you guys are positioned and where your car is, you're not going to gain the spots where that's an advantage for you at all.
Yeah, no.
And spoiler alert, it wasn't. Now, as much as we, shit on Lance made up some spots.
He did.
So
We'll give him that. And that bet is the best race for picture-in-picture so far.
yes.
Oh my god.
Absolute, and Matt from P1 also agrees that the direction this weekend was fantastic, which I agree. Whoever was doing the direction, or I don't know, photography, or I would assume it should just be direction. I don't think they have the high class like photographer, director, or whatever. But
Yeah, no.
they need to be in charge of it. It was good.
TV director.
We had pits. We had analyzing the start with live battles.
Clicked
going.
over to the replay for the start. Instantly, there was a picture-in-picture in the top right of the live racing going on. Beautiful.
Had the steak pit stop, which was a steak pit stop. I mean, it was a good pit stop for steak, so.
It was.
Oh, we got to see that picture-in-picture. Yeah, F1 TV, whoever is doing the directing, it's their job.
That
now.
person. Yep. Keep them right there.
Don't tell them what to do. Let them do whatever they did.
Yes. They are creative direction for a reason. Speaking of pit stops, we had a little bit of Charles strategizing, which feels kind of new to him because it feels like we're always talking about Carlos having to be the strategist for Ferrari, but it benefited them a little bit this week to actually have Charles do the strategizing for all of his stuff. I think he gained a couple of places here and there, yeah. And then Max ended up with a slow stop for Red Bull. 3 seconds. I thought that was
Crying in steak.
bizarre. Yeah, crying in steak. The average this year right now is probably sitting at like 3.5, 4 seconds, somewhere in there. That might be a stat for next week, if I can remember.
She will not. I guarantee that. No, it's a challenge. She will.
Now that I've been told that I won't.
Yep. It's called reverse psychology.
Now that you said I won't, I'm going to do it. Alright. Ooh, I forgot about Alex being a little spicy boy. So he got very short with his engineer because they basically cooked his tires. Like, had him push and go all out. And then they were like, well, actually, I think we're going to switch to plan B. And basically went off on them saying, like, we're being too indecisive. We need to figure this shit out. I don't know that I've seen Alex that spicy.
It's just been
It was a very spicy weekend for the
yeah.
for the communication side of things.
Radio was on the poor sensor, just working overtime.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. That's a good lead-in.
Yeah.
Childish. Whoa.
Time out.
Time out.
Lap 35. Gasly had to retire.
Gasly did have to retire. Sorry, yes, we did set that up. Which we did have a little bit of spiciness before that, but yeah. Hydraulics. So, God, what have you done? Is Esteban just sabotaging his engine?
I feel like at this point.
Because that's 2 weeks in a row.
The old French saboteur maneuver.
He got his, which is funny, he got his Grand Prix win car from the 2021 Hungary race in his family garage, but did he swap the engines out and he's got the 2021 engine in Pierre's car?
And then one last thing before we really get into the meat of everything. Some more Max complaining. He got into a battle with Lewis, and that resulted in him going wide and going off the track. And he started complaining about braking/turning. Said, quote, "I'm at a -5 brake bias and it won't fucking turn." So I'm guessing probably different settings for all of that. Because I'm pretty sure that's different from what I picture in the game. Because the game is like percentage-wise. Anyways, I'm guessing that's probably like one of their max settings, maximum settings, not max
setting.
Anyways,
It's the max setting.
it's the max setting. Yeah, it can get its turn. That Ripple has been having braking turning problems for like the past like 5 or 6 races.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they need to get their act together.
I was like, need to get Adrian.
Ooh.
Anyway, yeah. You know, I was gonna say the Red Bull dominance would be over when Ford takes over because Ford knows how to make an engine. That doesn't explode. But I guess it's now because it's 3 in a row and that was not. Yeah, the car did not look good. Yeah. Checo finished within 16 seconds of Max, or 18 seconds.
There's the real fucking wild one.
But yeah, no, doesn't seem to be a very pleasant weekend for the engineers involved.
Yeah, no, none involved. All of them are going to have plenty of therapy this week.
Let's start with, like I said, this is what the episode's called. This is what GP called it. And we're applying it to multiple drivers this reason. It was a childish race.
It was. It's a lot of complaining, a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of just, this is not my fault. I'm going to complain about it over the radio to you. It may even be you that I'm blaming, but it's not my fault.
Let's start with Max. Who did he complained the engineering, he complained the strategy, he complained the boys in the crew. And, I mean, I guess, slow stop happens, so he can be mad, but
you're the driver, and you're a great driver. You are a 3-time world champion driver,
most dominant driver in the current series, in the current era of car. I'm calling this current engine spec era, not necessarily the hybrid era, obviously, but yeah, like, I know it's just, I guess it is truly showing that Red Bull is so far behind where it's supposed to be, and it really is kind of Max, and he's at his wit's end with it. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. And then, I mean, some of it is, take the responsibility yourself. I mean, we saw it in quali more. I think quali definitely is where it started, because he, just didn't get in the car. I mean, that last 2 laps after the red flag was kind of a, eh.
Yeah, man.
It really didn't do anything.
Away.
Like, it probably should have just been called off anyway.
That's what I was thinking the entire time. I was like, oh, there's not enough time to go back around. And I was like, no, they send him back out.
We did get the nice little radio clip. I think that was the only thing worth it of Oscar with the whole telling his engineers, like, wasn't sure if it was Daniel or Yuki. He's like, well, Yuki doesn't have tires, so it's probably not Yuki. He's probably not coming back out. He's in the medical car doing laps, I guess. Yeah, Max, you know better. I didn't check to see if Redline won 24 hours of Spa.
Take a nap, Max. Jesus Christ.
That was the thing. Is like that was kind of what the broadcast was putting blame on. Is like, oh, he's tired from sim racing.
Little cranky baby.
I think it was just something in the air. Because you got Alex, and of course, well, you got anything else on Max? I don't want to like move into Lando. I feel like we have more to say on Lando.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I was like, Max just going, just yelly and mad and everything.
GP definitely being the dad. It's like,
yeah, get your shit together. You're an adult. Act like it.
which is funny because I should have this, I guess, redaction from last week's episode where I said, when I said in context of Carlos and Max being on a team together and their dads would fight, he's saying, hey, you guys are grown-ups. Sorry, I take that back. Apparently they're not acting like grown-ups right now. Not so much Carlos, but definitely Max. And definitely Lando Norris.
Definitely Lando.
We converted you to the Lando hate train today.
Yeah, I have hopped on board the Lando hate train. I want to like him. I really do, but...
We were so excited for his first win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that was the best thing that could have happened. And then
apparently
now
it was the worst thing.
The worst thing that could have happened. Because now you think that you are entitled to every race win. And that not specifically going towards this race. We'll get into that with this discussion. But every single race has been I'm going to deflect blame onto something else. Or I'm going to be mopey. Or I'm going to just be overall childish about the whole thing. And it's gotten to the point where even I'm done with it. I need him to grow up and act like he belongs to sit in that fucking race seat.
Yeah, and then all that's before the swap,
before the fucking
Multi
swap.
21.
Multi 21, Lando. Multi 21.
So the undercut, which I think genuinely surprised the broadcast. And I did see some things of, again, to mention Matt P1 again, saying the tweet he had was McLaren emotionally blackmailing Lando to cover up their own mistake and strategy. I'm like, maybe, but I don't know about that.
There's a degree, but the thing is, though, right? So here's basically my take on the whole debacle, right? They do the whole switch around thing, they do the undercut. They send Lando in first, and they send Piastri in. And they're like, hey, we're going to swap the positions back. If you do that then and there, when it first happened, that's what, 15 laps before the end?
Yeah, a lot.
It's like 15 to 20 laps. You were clearly... I 100% say Lando was clearly the faster car of the two. Like, he was absolutely outpacing Piastri, no doubt about it. That's 15 to 20 laps where they can go, hey, you actually are, like, well outpacing him. You're almost passing him every single lap going into DRS and whatnot. We're going to swap it around. Go ahead and go racing. That's a possibility of something that could happen. Now you just look like an asshole from sitting there and going, he should get faster. He should speed up.
Catch up.
Fucking, he's pulling away from the driver behind him. He started at like 6 seconds ahead of him. By the time that you finally swapped around, I think we were at like 12 to 13 seconds ahead of him. He was pulling away. There was plenty of, like, get up and go on it. We get it. You were the faster driver. Fucking do what you were told first, and then show them that you're the fastest driver.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Yep, and then just, and there was a post-race on the F1 TV post-race show, they talked to Andrea Stella. And he's like, I had full 100% confidence in Lando making and doing the right thing. No, you didn't. Don't lie to me. No. I know it's media presence, but no. And that's one thing. He's like, I don't need to come in as a team principal to do that. Toto's had to do it. Christian's had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to be a race-winning team.
Yep.
Fucking, and the...
Gunter's done it.
Yeah. I was like, was in sort of smooth-ish waters whenever he finally gave the position back, and I think he gave an offhanded comment. I was like, whatever, is what it is. He gave the position back. I was still in neutral territory. Post-race. Spoiler alert. Oscar wins. Post-race.
Oscar's first win.
Oscar's first victory.
Let's go. So happy.
Post-race, go into the cool-down room, and does fucking Lando need to cool down? Because the first thing that they fucking show him do is throw the Pirelli third place hat onto the floor. Fuck you. Absolutely fuck you. Which also, if we had a switch around, actually, no, it wouldn't be 2 nickels, because I'm pretty sure there was a third situation where someone tossed a hat at someone and then fucking...
Yeah.
It was Lewis, in fact. God. But yeah, no, I just...
Yeah, the hat was like, okay, so we already knew what you were saying in the interviews was bullshit, but you just proved it again.
Yeah, I was like, you were already being childish. You throwing the hat on the floor is just you being a piss baby. Like, fuck that. Absolutely fuck that.
But he did, he still celebrated, and he did...
He did the fountain.
He did the fountain. He didn't break anything, which is good.
You specifically noticed that all of the trophies were in areas where they couldn't be easily broken.
Well, it's funny, because Lando put his trophy off to the side where, like, Ben and the other FIA delegates were, like, way off.
Which, yeah, I do want to mention something in a second. Go ahead, though.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're mentioning.
Yeah.
So, of course, he predicted his own trophy. Yeah, no, and, more things all that. Of course, the reporters are going to, even Lawrence Barretto with F1 TV was also, they're poking the buttons to get the soundbite, get everything like that. But, I don't know. I do, but I don't want to be a fly in the wall in those factory meetings or team meetings earlier today / they get all reset up in Spa or whatever of both Red Bull and McLaren. And maybe still Alpine, which, another news for Spa, Alpine is finally getting rid of their teen year somewhere in there, hospitality club. Apparently it was Toyota's old one. How long has Toyota not been in Formula 1?
Years and years and years.
So everybody was giving Haas shit about theirs earlier this week. I think Kim Illman was talking about Haas is like the oldest, or no, it was... Who was I watching? It was talking about the investment of Haas. It may have been the race. Talking about how Haas is so underinvested. Someone, I don't know, a YouTube video I watched. I was like, oh, hey, Alpine has it too, because they got a picture to it. I think Kim Illman was actually the one talking about Alpine getting a new motor hospitality room. I guess McLaren's getting a new one too, because, hey, they're 2 for 2 natural disasters in there, whether it be fire or storm, and then a driver pull. So... God. Maybe you guys should keep damaging y'all's hospitality area to get those polls.
I mean, to be fair, the last time that Williams had any damage to any of their facilities, they won a race for the first time in God knows how long. That's still one of the wildest stories. Yeah, no. The point I wanted to bring up. Mohammed bin Sulayem. We call him Ben Salami. So that's what I'm going to refer to him as. I specifically had to look it up on my phone just so I'm respecting him once by giving the correct name. But we just call him Ben Salami.
Which is a reference to a Vine, which is not a reference to him, which is kind of worse.
Yeah.
Which is why I actually never done it on the podcast. But yes, internally it's Ben Salami.
It's whatever. Yeah. Anyways,
it's him the person.
It's him. Yeah, it's him being the fucking douchebag McGee that he is. Anyways, there's several FIA events going on this weekend. Of course, the F2 races, the F3 races, the F1 race, the Formula E race. I'm sure several other races, endurance and rally and this and that and the other. Of note, Formula E championship just wrapped up today, actually. Yep. Just earlier today.
A couple hours after the Hungary.
The Hungaroring, yep. They raced in London, and Pascal Wehrlein, former F1 driver, won the Formula E World Drivers Championship. So congratulations to him. Writing was on the wall there that the championship was in it. I don't know that we ever confirmed that it was the last race, but you thought that it was the last race, so
Yeah,
I'm assuming
London's
it was
the last race.
Okay,
So.
so last race. So they have to have a champion after that. So you know that the champion is getting crowned that race. Alternatively, we have F1, who's racing their 13th out of 24 races. The championship is still very much alive. It's in Hungary, which not really known for craziness or anything. Like Spa, I could understand. Monza, I could understand, etc. Where does he decide to go? Decides to go to Hungary. Be there for the other sports or for the other divisions inside your sport? Because that kind of feels lame. You want to promote Formula E so much, but then you don't go for the race where your champion is going to be crowned, and you know that the champion is going to be crowned. I understand that, the champion might not win this race, but we have 2 more races and whatnot, so, it's fine that no.
This was it.
That was the last race, and the champion had not been crowned yet, so the champion is crowned that race.
It's like it would be Gary Bettman, which we made the comparison that he is Gary Bettman. He's the FIA Gary Bettman. Like, everybody hates him, and he's probably not doing the best job. It's like, yeah, Gary Bettman's missing a Stanley Cup Game 6 or 7. Actually, no, it'd be missing a Stanley Cup Game 7 because the winner is being we have the Stanley Cup champion being decided in this game. We have the Formula E championship being decided this race. So, yeah, kind of shame on you there, Ben. I was like, speaking of the sports series, did you see the British? I was gonna bring this up the other day and forgot because it happened like Friday or Saturday because it was like the sprint race for British Formula 4 in Zandvoort. So it was 5 lights out, and then all of them came back on within half a second. So it was boop, 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 lights out, immediately back on. So just pile up. An absolute cluster. You should go watch the clip. It's
feel like, though, they should know that comes on, that's either aborted or that's, like, false start, or that's something where they need to still go, but at that point, they've got to do another formation lap at that point.
I said there was like just enough time where the lights went out and you could react before the lights came back on, but not long enough for you to realize something was to stop. Like,
gotcha.
It was like just the right amount. I'll show you the video.
Fair enough.
That was the other weird Formula One thing. Like, definitely don't. The commentator I heard, which he also said, was like, the lights never went out. Like, the lights definitely went out. I was like, never seen this happen. So interesting. We'll look forward to that after the summer break, I guess. See if they get the lights fixed at Zandvoort. So. Yeah, not a great race, and our highlights are people yelling at their engineers. It's not good for the sport.
No, absolutely not.
That's I've heard. Yeah, childish, embarrassing. So we got Spa. I don't know how Spa's gonna go, to be honest, because it's like, well, you got the summer break, so why change our attitudes now? And we got like a month to reset. So. Yeah, we'll see. Spa's always something, so whether it be a 3-lap race with a Williams P2 or
Georgia's first podium,
or just a normal race, as long as someone dies, I think is a good win. It's kind of the main point there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. Obviously, yeah. Like, this is the end of the show rambling part we always do, because there's.
We're not even at the end of the show yet. We've still got stars. We've still got rundown.
I forgot about stars. No one's a star this week.
I mean, I sort of. We'll go ahead.
Yeah. If you want to do rundown and stars, or do rundown
stars and rundown.
Okay. I forgot about stars. That's how much this race has been.
I mean, if you didn't do stars, I have my 3.
I do have stars.
Okay.
No, I did stars this morning. I just didn't. Well, first of all, driver of the day, it's Oscar.
It's Oscar.
I voted for Oscar.
I voted for Oscar.
34%. He earned it. I mean, and that was another thing, too, I guess. He has his first win. There is always going to be that, asterisk now in people's brains, and that sucks, but whatever. He'll win more.
Oh, yeah.
him and Lando will both win plenty.
Oh,
I'm sure.
absolutely. That's unfortunately going to be a, a relationship much like Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. I feel, anyways.
Except unless Oscar gets a major attitude change.
Yeah.
I mean, his reaction was, "Yay!" Like,
God, I do.
Lando broke his microphone, basically, on he won. Oscar was like, "Oh, cool, sweet. What's the post race procedure? Where do I need to go?" So,
Stars.
Yeah. Well, I was saying you, but yeah, I guess 3-star was surprisingly, because it was a recovery drive ish, Checo.
Hey.
He didn't bitch on the radio, and he made up his poor qualifying ish. It was about 18 seconds on Max. If Max got a penalty for the rocket leaking between him and Lewis, it would have been a little bit closer, but
Hey, you know.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback off of that. My 3rd star was also Checo. Sure, an out-of-play start due to self-inflicted quality mishap. Another start from the rear of the field, but he did claw his way back to points. That's points. That's points that Red Bull is getting. It may not be good points, but it's points. So,
Yep.
Good
it's to
job.
the point where points finishing is more just a necessity than for Red Bull. So
Yeah.
that's how far they've fallen, I guess. Star number 2, quiet race. Only driver to do one stopper. Tire whisperer of the week. Got 2 points. Got his P9, which he likes. It was my boy Yuki.
Yugi!
Did 40 laps on those hard tires for the last half of the race.
Hell yeah.
Held on, got his points finished, didn't wreck it. He's like, "Oh, this is not how you be a Red Bull driver." Okay, cool. I'll keep it perfect. Just quiet, literally a quiet race. I don't think we heard his radio once. No bleeps. There's plenty of other
I was
radios.
going to say, there were too many bleeps. I couldn't tell if
Yeah.
we heard his or not.
So, yeah, just a nice, quiet, good race for Yuki.
My 2nd star is gonna be Oscar. Now, say what you will about the entire debacle at the end. Throughout the race, Oscar excelled. Snagged the lead at the start, commanded the lead throughout the race, and yeah, the whole end sequence happened, but still had a phenomenal drive. Still at the end, yes, even though Lando was pulling away from him, he was still pulling away from, I assume, Lewis at this point, because I don't think, George was not even close. I keep wanting to say George, but I know that he was not even close to finishing next to them. So he was pulling away from Lewis and creating a gap there. So while yes, the win may be a little sour note, still a pretty good win. It was still a pretty good drive from Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, Oscar, which I'll piggyback. He got my 1st star because he deserved that race.
Absolutely.
So when I even said on Twitter, it's like Lando's showing some colors here. It's like this is Oscar's race. So it was this was improvement. He did good tire strategy. That's been Oscar's kryptonite during his rookie season. And I'm probably paraphrasing from some other coverage of this, but like he managed to do it all good. He did the thing. He did
it. He do goo.
So yeah, it was Oscar's race, and again, it sucks that it's kind of on this, this kind of fog or like just kind of haze, I'll say, of like this ness.
Awfulness, yeah.
So like I said, he'll win more. Lando will win more. I'm sure Max will probably win a couple more.
That's crazy to say, like a year ago, saying Max will probably win a couple more.
Yeah.
That'd be, you would be like checked into an insane asylum.
Yeah.
Won't get you checked into an insane asylum. Me saying that I don't think that there was enough people to have a 1st star this weekend. So I'm giving the 1st star to the director of TV direction this weekend. Absolutely phenomenal. Love the picture-in-picture work. There was the because this was a whole like outside of F1 story that went on during FP1. So you may or may not have been affected by this, but FP1 day of CrowdStrike had the big IT debacle, and so Mercedes stuff is completely crashed on their pit wall as FP1 is starting, so they're having to go through the procedures to reset that. What does the TV direction do? Zoom in on the CrowdStrike logo on the Mercedes kit. That is phenomenal shitposting, and I love it. Yes, do more of all of that. I need that person to be in that position at every race for the rest of
Eternity.
Yes, as long as that sport exists, I need them in the direction for that.
It was really good direction. It was good. Right battles.
We didn't even do that good whenever it was our week.
Yeah. And I think that we were getting more cameras. I know they had cameras during free practice 1 and 2 that we didn't get to see those for the whole brake drum thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we didn't really mention that, but McLaren allegedly had extra holes in their brake drums for cooling, which Red Bull didn't like. So yeah,
more crying, more complaining.
Yeah. So maybe that will be cool is brake cameras. Just see giant red circles. Well, it's not those. It's not disc brakes. It's drum brakes. So, but yep. God, I'm just so I shouldn't say roasted after that because it's like there was nothing. It wasn't exciting. Like it was just kind of eh.
Yeah. Wasn't an exciting race at all. It was just a very tense race. A lot of tension. Finally released at the end, but it's like, ugh. Anyways,
after all that,
after all
the whining, where did everybody end up?
Where are we at? Okay, well, Hungary, everybody. Let's do the rundown again. P1, Oscar Piastri, first win. Really glad for him. Gained a position off of everything. Oscar Piastri, P1. Lando Norris, P2, lost the 1 position. Lewis Hamilton gained 2 spots to finish P3. His 200th podium, by the way. So
that's so many podiums.
Congrats, Lewis. Fantastic, decade almost of racing, if not more. I don't know. Time is an illusion. Hopefully here's to a few more years at Ferrari. Hopefully a few more podiums at Ferrari. That'd be great. Charles Leclerc, P4, gained 2 spots. Max Verstappen lost 2 spots to finish P5. Carlos Sainz lost 2 spots to finish P6. Checo Perez, of course, finishing P7, gained 9 spots to get there. George Russell also gained 9 spots to get to P8. His more strategy-based rather than he crashed out, so meh. Also got the fastest lap, so good job, George. Yuki Tsunoda finishes P9, gained 1 position. Lance Stroll lost 2 positions to finish P10. We didn't even come back to that, but whatever.
You got a point. Good job, Lance.
You got a point. His teammate, Fernando Alonso, not so lucky, lost 4 spots to finish P11. Danny Rick finished P12, lost 3 positions. I think most everyone else at this point loses positions.
Everybody's definitely lopped down.
Yeah, I didn't even track that this week. God,
it was basically
It was a lot.
It was Fernando down.
Okay,
basically.
Thank you.
All right.
Nico Hulkenberg, 2 places down from where he started, finishes P13. Alex Albon finished a place down, finished P14. K-Mag right where he was at, P15. Bottas lost 4 spots to finish P16. Logan lost 3 spots to finish P17. Ocon gained a position to finish P18. Zhou finished P19, 1 spot lower. And Pierre did not finish, of course retiring due to the hydraulic issue earlier in the race.
Just still an improvement from last week, though.
No places gained or lost.
Yep.
God, I feel for him. I really do.
Especially because he went ahead and stuck with Alpine for another year.
Oh, God.
So to Pierre Gasly's therapist, I wish you a happy extra $1 million you're going to make.
Yeah. An extra session.
All right. That's it. I think this time, yeah.
Yeah. I think we've rambled throughout rather than at the end.
Yeah. We got Spa coming up. That's cool. It's Spa.
It's Spa. I enjoy the track. It's the little Uzi track.
Uzi.
Uzi, but it's diagonal. Yeah, no. I enjoy the racing on the I enjoy the track, but I don't enjoy the track. Like, it's a very long track. It's like a 2-minute lap almost. If not a 2-minute lap. But yeah, no. It's a fun little... It's got some nice corners. And the bus stop chicane at the end.
As long as it doesn't rain out or whatever.
Yes.
That's
oh my god.
Yeah, we'll be back for Spa. I will tease that. We'll probably stick with how we were at for this, and then we'll do some content in the summer break, obviously talking about summer breakness. I'm sure something will happen.
Surely. Waiting on that Instagram post any day now.
Who doesn't have it? I think everybody has an Instagram, so it'll be as shocking. Seb returns, that's what it's going to be.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish so much. But
just do a race to keep his number 5 not being taken for another 5 years. But yeah, to tease it, probably during the summer break, after that, when we come back, we'll have a slightly different audio setup, which will be nice, hopefully better quality and all that. So I was testing that this week, so testing part of it, make sure it's all going to work the way we want it to before we went full beans on it.
I helped test it. It sounds good. I like it. I'm usually not a audiophile when it comes to the spoken word, but it was nice.
Yep, I'm sure you hear some of the background noise, so it's in Hungary. Oh, it's so hot. Yeah, it's so hot here and worse. So fuck you. But so we have ACs off and all that, so it's very hot to record. And we still have a lot of background kind of haze and stuff. So hopefully the new setup after that will be good. But yeah, I just wanted to tease it because I'm excited about it at least. So it should be fun. But yeah, we'll worry about that after and get it all set up and better. That's it. I don't know. I'm so just out of it at this point. It's already 8 o'clock too. Ugh. I hate it here.
Change your fucking car!
Follow the pod everywhere at DSQ Pod. And follow the crew at Medic50 and at Golu Cody 30.